My name is Sadie McKinnley. I'm from Casper, Wyoming, where I'm a paramedic there currently. I came to this program after I was not dealing with a call that I went on in early June, where I had a 4-year-old child who was ejected out of a car after the person driving ran a stop sign, and he took the full force of a semi-truck. I've dealt with dead kids before, and I would just push it aside, kind of push it down, and just not address it. But then I'd be okay. I'd cry about it, and I'd be okay later. But this was a very different scenario this time. At 22, I was the oldest person and the most experienced person on that ambulance. I had with me a 20-year-old student who was her first time ever being on an ambulance, and my 20-year-old partner who had never seen a dead child before. And after the incident, it was my job to debrief them. And what really started messing with me was I had to be the one to tell them that you're going to have nightmares for the rest of your life. You're going to see that kid's face when you fall asleep. And you're going to cry in the shower, and at some point you're not going to be okay. And I remember the distinct moment when the light left their eyes, and I still see them when I sleep. I see that look on their faces, and I can still see that dead kid when I sleep. So I wasn't doing well after that. I started having flashbacks and nightmares, started feeling numbness. I got really agitated with my husband, and I knew it wasn't his fault. I knew it was me, and I was worried it was going to start stretching our marriage. And I started to feel hopeless. I wasn't struggling with why it happened. I know that God is sovereign. I know that there's a plan. I was struggling with the fact that I, as a leader, felt like I had put them in a position that they were then hurt my team. I didn't understand what was happening to me in this process. I started losing interest in my favorite things. In a debrief with the fire department in Casper, someone had mentioned Mighty Oaks. And when I mentioned to my husband, he's like, well, what's the worst that happens is it doesn't help. And the best thing that happens is it does help. So I signed up. They informed me that I wasn't going to be able to get in until next year. And I was like, well, I mean, I tried, but I'm probably not going to make it till next year either. My marriage is going to be so stretched, or I'm going to just lose myself. Within a week, I got a text, and they're like, hey, we have an opening. We need to know ASAP. Can you come in 3 weeks? And I was like, absolutely. I just dropped everything, called work. I was like, I'm not going to be there, and came. And that was totally providential of God, because He knew better than I that I couldn't make it any longer. And that was just a gift from Him, I guess. Since being here, some key things I've learned is I now fully understand my worth as a woman of God. I'm going to move forward from this event, and I'm not just going to start suppressing emotions anymore and the confusion that I feel. I can embrace it. I need to be careful about identifying where I place my worth, and not even let my husband go on that pedestal where Christ is, because he is fallible, and Christ is the only perfect person that should fit on that pedestal. I'm a masterpiece with a meaning and a purpose. God has placed me where I am in my career and my family because He has a masterful plan, and I know that I am an essential part of that. When I am suffering, I know to place it in God's hands. And then when bad stuff happens, I can press into God before pressing into people first. I want to be a woman of character and courage. I remember before coming here, after a debrief, after that incident, and I felt afraid, and I just asked, I was like, what happens now? How do I move on from now? And I now know that I can walk away from fear. I can leave it here. I don't have to bring it home with me. The fear that I felt, it was built, God built it in a wonderful, masterful design for my protection, to be better prepared for the next time. It's just that mine sometimes triggers at the wrong times, but that's okay. I'm always going to be different. I won't get to go back to the fun person who didn't know about the terrible things that happen in this world. And that's okay too. Because God put me there, and I'm just going to learn from that experience. And I can now share that with other people. The main thing is now I know I get to choose how I respond. I don't have to just let it be a condition. I can respond how God wants me to. God puts us into situations, and even when it seems like it's just like there's no hope, He's never forsaken me, and I trust He's never going to. He states that right in His Word. And I'm going to take the opportunity that God has given me, and I want to make a difference with it. My marriage is a God-given gift, and I'm not going to change my spouse into who I think God wants him to be, because God can do that all on His own. And I'm going to fight for my marriage, and I'm going to keep fighting for it. And in my marriage, it's time that I take a step back and I let my husband lead like he was designed to lead. I trust my husband with his life, with my life. And so it's time that I can trust him to do the dishes or get groceries. I have to give up my control. I want my life story to reflect Christ until the day I die. And my legacy is going to be built through times of struggle. And I want to set the example for when I have kids, for my little sisters. I want that example to be not that I didn't struggle, but that I struggled and God was beside me the whole time and I didn't waver. When I get home, I'm going to start training like a fighter because I want to fight. I am fighting for my faith, my husband, my family, my career, and my future. And in the end, I'm fighting for eternity. My plan is, in order to be a better wife, I'm going to make my husband feel more respected by stepping back and letting him do his work. I'm going to be a beacon in my workplace in order to show Christ and His saving grace so that way other people can experience that same grace I have been given. And finally, I'm going to banish the fear that's been holding me captive because it holds me no longer. Christ rose and broke the grave, and He took my fear, and it's no longer there.